Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I just want to first start off and say thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys have shown me. I'm just blown away. I haven't been doing this for a long time, and just the amount of people that interact with me and watch my videos and subscribe to my channel, it's been so awesome. So thank you guys so much. All right, so in my last video, I talked about, the labor market, the current state of it, and how people are losing their jobs right now. And, my heart goes out to all the people out there that commented and they shared their stories with me. A lot of you guys mentioned how you guys lost your jobs last year, and after applying over and over to so many jobs, you guys still can't find jobs right now. And there were a couple other people that commented how they just graduated college. They poured their heart and soul into getting a college degree, and they were promised a good job afterwards. Like the American dream: go to college, you're going to get a great corporate job, and you're going to be able to buy a house and live a good life. But these commenters commented how they just graduated and they've put in so many applications and they can't find a job right now. And I posted that video about a little over 2 weeks ago, and just since then, we've had so many more layoffs. DHL, they're a big U.S. carrier. They compete with FedEx and UPS. They just announced that they're going to lay off 8,000 people. HP, you guys all know the laptop manufacturers, the laptop company, they're going to lay off about 2,000 employees. Who else? Oh, Goldman Sachs came out. They are one of the most powerful financial institutions in the world, one of the biggest investment banks. They came out and said that they're going to lay off about 2,000 employees. So job losses is still accelerating, and that can only mean one thing: that the economy is breaking down. Think about it. If the economy was growing, we wouldn't see these many layoffs every week. We would see jobs being added, and a lot more companies hiring right now. And in my opinion, I believe that it's due to so much economic uncertainty. What's going on right now reminds me a lot of 2008 and 2009, the last recession that the U.S. entered. Around that time, I was still at the Federal Reserve Bank, and it reminds me of that time where companies were doing a lot of layoffs. There was a lot of economic uncertainty at that time. We didn't know what financial institutions, what their balance sheets were, what the losses were going to be, because a lot of these institutions didn't know the toxic assets that they were holding. A lot of these exotic derivatives, subprime mortgage loans. And during that time, we saw so many bankruptcies: Washington Mutual collapse, Wachovia Bank, Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns. So right now kind of really reminds me of that time right now, everything that's going on. And right now we also have a lot of economic uncertainty. It's like every other day you turn on the TV, the United States, imposes a 25% tariff on products produced in Mexico, and then like an hour later, Mexico retaliates with their own tariffs, and then the next day we're imposing 100% tariffs on Canadian products, and then Canadians coming back, removing all the alcohol, U.S. made alcohol off their shelves and imposing all this other tariffs, and then the day after that, we impose more tariffs on China. So, we're in a trade war right now, which is causing so much uncertainty. And these companies, their main goal is to make a profit. But with all this economic uncertainty, they don't know what their costs are going to be. They don't know what their future revenue is going to be. Let me give you guys an example. I don't know if you guys know how tariffs work, but for simplicity, let's just say Nike, let's say we all know that China is the manufacturing country of the world. Let's say Nike buys a t-shirt, one t-shirt from China for $5, and Nike sells it here in the United States for $10. So they make a profit of $5. But what tariffs do is they increase the cost for Nike and ultimately increase costs for us consumers. So how that works, how tariffs works, let's say, we impose 100% tariffs on goods from China. What happens is, so if Nike goes to China for that one t-shirt for $5, when it comes to customs, Nike has to pay a $5 tax on that. So if we pose 100% tax tariff on that $5 Nike, that's $5. So it now costs Nike $10 for that one t-shirt. They obviously can't sell that t-shirt for $10 anymore here in the United States, so they have to increase the cost to $15 to keep the same profit percentage. You guys see how that works? So with all this tariff news, companies they don't know, what the economic impact is going to be to their company. And so what a lot of the companies do is they try to strategize and they forecast their revenue. And, what they do in these situations when things are uncertain is they'll start cutting a lot of costs. And the first thing that they're doing is cutting a lot of fat, a lot of, jobs that they don't seem necessary. They're reducing a lot of headcount to reduce costs because they don't know what the implications of all these tariffs are going to be on their company. Like I said earlier, the main goal of companies is to create a profit. That's how they have to survive. And on top of that, the United States, we are a consumer economy. Companies make their profits by the U.S. citizens, us Americans, working and consuming a lot of products. But as you guys know, the cost of living has gone up dramatically right now. People are struggling to survive. I believe Bank of America, they came out with a survey, and the survey concluded that nearly half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 45% of those Americans have less than $1,000 saved right now. That is insane. And also, I also saw that 11 million Americans, 65 and over, that's 1 out of 5, they have to go back. They're either still working right now or they're returning back to the workplace because their pensions and their 401ks, whatever they had, isn't keeping up with the cost of living. And when people can't, are barely making it, half of these Americans, they don't have enough money left over to spend into the economy, which grows the economy right now. And, so I'm not talking to the people that, are white collar, have good paying jobs, or upper middle class, or, upper class. If a recession comes, they're most likely going to be just fine because they own multiple properties. They have a lot of money saved up, and they own a lot of stocks. I'm talking to the Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck. I believe that a recession is coming, or a recession's already here. And, things could get worse because in 2008 and 2009, the unemployment rate peaked at around 9 or 10%. So if a recession comes, it can get a lot worse, guys. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now, I would highly recommend you guys, start saving money, cut costs where you guys can, because right now there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And right now might be the time to, not go out as much to eat, go out to eat all the time. Maybe start cooking a lot more and just start saving so it creates that buffer, because nobody knows what's going to happen in the future right now. There's so much uncertainty. And I would highly recommend, if you're in trouble, please stay away from using your credit cards right now. I saw that the credit card debt is at its highest level. It was at $1.2 trillion. So many Americans right now are, relying on credit and credit card debt to get by. So if that's you, please, I would highly recommend, cut costs where you can. And also auto delinquencies. There's a company called Fitch Data. They've have been keeping track of auto delinquency data since the early 90s, and they came out and said that auto delinquencies are at its highest ever since they've ever been keeping track of this type of data. So if you're not in a good place financially, maybe it's time to downgrade your car. You don't need that, high-end Toyota pickup truck that's costing you $800 a month. Maybe it's time to trade that in, something more affordable right now. And just, once again, I would highly recommend that, you start preparing just in case, things get a lot worse and the U.S. enters a recession. Because if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're a few paychecks away from losing your apartment, So once again, my heart goes out to anybody struggling right now. So yeah, I'm going to end the video here. Good luck to everybody out there that's struggling, looking for a job. Just don't give up. And sometimes you just have to adapt. So, early in the early 70s and 80s, Detroit during the auto boom was one of the top cities, and it was thriving because of the auto boom. And we all know what happened later on. Better technology, robotics, and a lot of these companies, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, they all started outsourcing their manufacturing to China and other countries. And a lot of people that didn't see that coming, and they didn't adapt and develop new skill sets, they got left behind. So, anybody struggling to get a job right now, maybe that's time, it's time for you guys to develop a new skill set. And, as much as you don't want to, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I'm going to end the video there. So thank you guys so much for watching. And a shout out to all my truckers out there living that deaf life. Be safe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.